So we're here at the Blockchain Futurist Conference in beautiful Toronto. There's a pool behind that you can see right now, Lake Ontario. Look at that skyline. Really great conference. I'm here with Pascal St-Jean of 3IQ. Tell me a bit more about yourself and about 3IQ.
Yeah, so Pascal St-Jean, president of 3IQ. So we are Canada's largest digital asset manager. So basically we were the first to create a fully regulated Bitcoin exchange traded product in the world back in 2017 when our founder Fred Pai basically took on the government, took on the regulators, and basically said that Canadians deserve to have access to crypto in government registered products such as a TFSA or RSP. So that was the birth of the company back then, and since then we scaled to be one of the largest asset managers globally, and we continue to innovate and bring more products to market to try to create an environment where crypto is safe and easy to access for Canadians and now for people around the world, as we are in multiple other countries now.
Is this your first time at the Blockchain Futurist Conference?
Myself personally, yes. We divide and conquer. There's so many great conferences around, but my team's been here before. And today we have about 5 or 6 from my team, meeting with different individuals, continuing to engage and to associate ourselves with this wonderful community.
Right. What is your sense of this conference since you're here? Any takeaways already?
Oh, it's been great. As you could tell that this year we went to Bitcoin Miami, went to Consensus, Collision. This is the year where everyone wants to get back in person, back into meeting and creating, and having meetings to come up with creative ideas. And again, meeting in person, I think is creating that. And the energy here is fantastic.
And we've interviewed maybe 6 or 7 other entrepreneurs, leaders in the market today, and it's been amazing the diversity. We've interviewed everything from entrepreneurs, obviously, tech folks and payments, but also a Bitcoin philanthropist,
Yep.
A recording artist. I mean, is this a trademark of the blockchain/crypto market, this diversity and
absolutely.
inclusiveness?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the kind of whole mission statement of how it was born, right? Like when Bitcoin was created, is to try to empower people around the world.
Democratize.
Exactly, right? So decentralize, democratize, give access, and give sound money back to people. And since then, the concept of blockchain has evolved to enable much more than just finance and any industry. And I've been part of many disruptive industries for the past 20 years. Any new industry attracts the brightest minds, the most creative individuals, and that's what we're seeing.
A lot of young people too.
Young, old, people just want to come together and change the world.
Right, that's really amazing. So you obviously have a front row view on the market in terms of the tokens, in terms of the investment and the prices, frankly. And we are in the middle of a crypto winter, even though some say just zoom out. It's just a short-term sort of event. What is your take on this crisis we're in right now? What is happening? What should people who may be invested now and have either lost money or not be invested and be thinking maybe this is my opportunity? What would you say to them longer term?
Yeah, so as a fully regulated entity, I have to be careful in terms of the advice I give,
okay.
Right? So not financial
Not
financial advice,
All right?
But one of the things that we really pride ourselves on when we saw crypto winter happening, we predicted these cycles, we knew it was coming, we prepared. We fully committed ourselves to invest to educate individuals. So 3IQ, our commitment during this time, and will continue into the future, is that we've invested in a research group, we've invested in an education group. So our website now is fully packed with amazing resources that analyze the macro conditions and analyzes basically the crypto markets and tries to make sense of the opportunities ahead. And our talk today was just about that. So personally, I think we're definitely at that time where we're in a macro landscape that we've never seen before. The past 10 years of
the
rising
Ukraine,
those are geopolitical. They add to the mix.
As well.
Pandemic. I mean, look, the reality is all the money that was printed during the pandemic.
Of course.
Right? We all could have predicted that inflation was going to happen. When people come out of being isolated for several years, I don't think they care about the price of the hotel anymore. It's like, I just want to go travel again.
Yeah.
I want to see people again. So we're seeing demand side inflation. At the same time, ramping things back up. A lot of airlines, manufacturing, shipping had slowed down to try to save costs during the pandemic. Now we have to build that infrastructure back up. So we're seeing, supply side, demand side inflation. The government's trying to do what they need to do to try to tame that.
I wanted to ask about regulation, actually. So
sure.
I feel like in Canada we don't hear any messaging from our government, and this is constructive criticism, about the blockchain industry, whereas in other countries like the US, for example, or even France, there seems to be, at least more communication. Is that your sense as well?
So I'll say this. The general public may not be hearing much about the regulators. I think no news is good news because we live it on the front line every day. And I have to say that Canada is probably one of the most advanced of all the G7 countries in this space right now. Right? Regulation's fairly clear. They're pushing, they're challenging us all the time, but we are challenging back, both at the asset management front, at the innovation front. I would say Canada right now, if companies and if people come together and the government wants to continue to play ball, has the opportunity to continue to be a leader globally.
But essentially you're saying that they're actually doing more than they're saying.
Yeah, a lot.
And they're often criticized for the opposite.
No. Look.
I mean, outside of blockchain, people often say, they say a lot, but what is the action?
Yeah, so
you're almost saying it's the reverse.
Yeah, and it's not even at the federal government level. That's why we're not hearing about it there, right? So our regulators are provincial, so the OSC, right, or the ASC in Alberta, etc. So look, they're listening. They're allowing everyone to come to the table, and they're enabling us to continue to innovate, but while trying to regulate and create protection for the consumer. So look, it's never a perfect world, but I have to say that right now there's much more clarity in Canada and opportunity here than there is in the US. That will change soon, which is why I'm saying we have this window in Canada that we need to come together and seize before the American regulators really become and get their act together. Because once they do, that's going to unlock a lot of opportunity in the US, which will come and cannibalize our market here.
Now, everyone in crypto in general, and at this conference in particular, is talking about the merge, the Ethereum 2.0, rebranded as the merge. That's kind of the really big thing that is going to happen, at least for altcoins, as they call them, or layer ones, layer twos. Is that do you see it the same way, or is there anything else that people should watch for in the coming years in terms of the evolution of this market? And I'm going to say there's a ton, but like the biggest things people should watch for, or is it government regulation?
Well, there's a lot to unpack there, right? So let's go take one at a time.
Yeah.
So short term, the ETH merge is a big deal, right? Yeah. Because basically, while they were moving from proof of work to proof of stake, there's a lot of competitors that came on the market. There's many other layer ones now, right? Bitcoin aside, Bitcoin, Ethereum, not the same use case at all, right? So Ethereum, smart contract platform, right? Basically trying to be the smart Internet of Things, like the protocol of Web3. While they were figuring this out and continue to figure this out, has enabled others to come into the game, Avalanche, Solana, and others. Now, they're all trying to solve for either speed, security, decentralization. They all have different bells and whistles. They all do a little bit different, but it has opened the market to others. Now, Ethereum is still by far the largest, so for them, they still have a head start. They still have the lead in the race. So this is a big deal, because if they pull it off and they're able to continue to scale, build speed, and decrease gas fees, now they're competing with all the others that came to the space, and they continue to be the dominant force. That's Ethereum, right? What's coming out in the future? We were talking about that last night as I was speaking on the Virgo CX panel. I mean, the next layer, once regulation comes in and continues to be clear in the US and continues to be clear in Canada, we will see a lot. There's already a lot of money, and we'll see a lot more money.
Because once it's regulated, it's almost
clear. And look, it happened back in the internet days, right? I was there in the early days. Once it's accepted, it's clear, the risk of deploying capital decreases, right? So now all of a sudden, there's a lot of capital at the layer foundation, and there's still a lot of work to figure out who's going to win at the layer foundation. The next layer is at the dApp level. It's creating value and usability in the apps that drive a lot of value to the end user. So we're still at the early stages. So the big future is really, to me, which of the layer ones is going to win, or are they going to come together and create some form of either cross-chain, sort of partnerships, or are we going to end up with a W3C, like a worldwide web consortium that was created back in the late 90s to create standards across the world, right? So are we going to have more standards? Regulation will be clear. Well, at some point, we can't have a million chains.
You mentioned dApps, decentralized apps. There's something I don't particularly understand is how mobile is so important for blockchain. Could you maybe touch on that briefly?
Well, I mean, the reality is mobile is still, I don't have the statistics, but it's in the 70, 80, 90% of mobile of data usage, right? So I mean, the reality is I'm not saying that mobile is the reason for blockchain, right? But you can run it off your computer. When I go to Decentraland,
but it's essential to the spreading of the use of it.
Of course, I mean,
Solana is coming up with a phone.
Yes, yeah, that's a different conversation. Yeah, different conversation. But no, but just the continuation of having a supercomputer in our pocket, connected at all times, able to process all this information with decentralized apps, and our information more secure, more protected, our ability to commercialize or participate in the economy of blockchain that in Web 2 wasn't possible. That's where mobile becomes your information, your life, your access to the web all in one pocket. It's essential.
Thanks for clarifying this one for me. And finally, 3IQ, any, whether exclusive or not, any kind of announcement, anything that you can tell me about what's going to happen, what people who follow you should watch for in particular?
Yeah, so two things. If you follow our website, you'll see that we're going to really, again, continue to push hard on the research and education. We really want to do our part to bring the research at the institutional front, but also education at the mom and dad front. We want everyone to either understand what this industry is, and we also want the large institutions, the banks, to understand how the macro and crypto come together. So we're playing both sides because we want to do our part. So we're going to continue to invest in that. So you're going to see a lot more content.
And people can turn to you as a source
of expertise. Absolutely. And then from
unbiased?
Of course, always. And we analyze it. We analyze all the data. And then from our perspective, in terms of the products that are coming out, we're going to continue to do what we do best. One is innovate in the ETF space for consumers, right? To make things safer and easier, right? Can't say where we're always trying to be first, but we're doing a lot of innovative stuff. That's going to drive a lot of value for consumers, and then also trying to work hard to create value-added products for institutions alike. They're looking to access crypto in a very specific way, and we want to make sure we can provide that for them.
Okay, so if people want to find 3IQ, I guess it's 3IQ.com?
3IQ.ca.
3IQ.ca. Ooh, Canadian. We love it.
Yes.
And where can people find you? Are you on Twitter? Are you on
LinkedIn, Twitter, but LinkedIn, St-Jean, on /LinkedIn/St-Jean. You can connect with me. I'm happy to talk anytime.
Awesome. Thank you very much,
so
Pascal.
much.
Appreciate it.